Welcome, deep divers. Today we're diving into a truly profound work, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It's a book that's it's shaped how so many people think about purpose and resilience and finding a way through the unimaginable. And Frankl's own story, if you know it, it's just harrowing. He was a psychiatrist, Jewish from Vienna, and he lived through Auschwitz and Dachau during World War II. This book, it isn't just academic theory. It's forged from just a horrific existence, daily death, torture, starvation, freezing cold, vermin. I mean, he lost his mother, father, brother, his wife, all in the camps. So you have to ask, like Frankl himself did, how could anyone find life worth preserving? That's what we're doing today, our mission. Pull out the most powerful lessons from what he saw about human spirit, about survival in the absolute worst conditions. Think of this as maybe a 10-minute tour through the core ideas of this incredible book.
It really is incredible to think about. And Frankl's central idea, the one he kept coming back to, was that meaning. It can be found even in suffering. He often brought up Nietzsche's quote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow." And he saw this play out. It wasn't abstract. He noticed that prisoners who, lost their faith, lost any sense of meaning or hope for the future, they were just much less likely to make it. But those who held on to something, maybe a reason, a why, perhaps thinking of a loved one or a piece of work they felt they needed to finish, or even seeing the suffering itself as a challenge to overcome, they were just more resilient. There was a clear difference.
Yeah, and he tells that heartbreaking story, doesn't he, about the inmate, Felix, who was just convinced they'd be liberated on March 30th. He held on to that date, and then the day came and went. No liberation. And Frankl says Felix lost consciousness on the 30th and was dead by the 31st. It was like that loss of hope, that specific why, just switched off his body's will to live.
Exactly. It lowered his physical resistance dramatically.
And the chief doctor saw something similar, right? Around Christmas 44, a spike in deaths when guys who hoped to be home just couldn't hold on anymore.
That's right. It shows how vital that inner anchor is. For Frankl, suffering sort of transforms. It ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice. Like for himself, he sometimes imagined giving lectures after the war about the psychology of the concentration camp, that act of objectifying his current hell, seeing it as future material, something to learn from. It gave it a purpose beyond just enduring the pain. And this connects to what he later called existential frustration, that feeling of boredom, unease, even depression or anxiety that can creep in when life feels empty, when we lack that sense of meaning. Which brings up a really important question for you listening right now. What is your purpose? What gives your life meaning? Frankl would say that struggle, that inner tension you feel when searching for meaning or reaching for a goal, it's not bad. It's actually natural and necessary.
Okay, so finding that why is critical, but then there's the how. How do we actually deal with the suffering when it hits? What was Frankl's big insight there, especially given, everything he went through?
It's maybe his most powerful statement, I think. He said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. No matter how terrible the external situation, that inner space, that freedom to choose your response, that can't be taken away.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but also maybe almost unbelievably difficult in a place like Auschwitz. Did he have a more relatable example, maybe?
He did. He tells the story of an elderly doctor who came to him, severely depressed after his wife died. Frankl couldn't bring the wife back. Obviously, the situation was fixed. So Frankl asked him something like, "What if you had died first and your wife had survived you?" And the man said, "Oh, that would have been terrible for her. She would have suffered so much." And Frankl then gently reframed it. "You see, doctor, such suffering has been spared her, and it is you who have spared her this suffering. But now you have to pay for it by surviving and mourning her." The man didn't say anything, just shook Frankl's hand and left. The suffering itself didn't disappear, but his attitude towards it changed completely. It wasn't meaningless despair anymore. It was a sacrifice born out of love.
Wow. That shift in perspective, that's everything. It really underlines that idea when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And Frankl saw this spectrum even in the camps, didn't he? People could choose to act, as he put it, like a swine or a saint. And that choice was internal, regardless of the horrors outside.
Absolutely. It came down to inner decisions.
Okay, so we've got meaning, we've got choosing our attitude. But what about the things people often chase directly, like happiness or success? Frankl had a pretty counterintuitive view on that, too.
He really did. Famously, he said, "Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it."
Hmm.
He argued that success and happiness, too, they aren't things you can pursue directly. They have to ensue. They happen as the unintended side effect of dedicating yourself to something bigger than yourself or to another person.
That makes me think about how we often see happiness portrayed, especially in movies, maybe. It's like a goal, get the promotion, buy the house, find the partner, then happiness arrives.
Right, like it's an if-then equation.
Yeah, but Frankel's saying, no, that's backwards. It's cultivated inside, not captured outside.
Exactly. It's an internal job.
I actually have a personal story that, for me, really captures this. When I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, my family didn't have much money at all. There was this little bakery nearby, and they sold these like 10-cent pastries. I absolutely loved them. And I figured out I could collect empty lemonade bottles that were worth 5 cents each on return.
Ah, the hustle. Yeah. So finding 2 bottles was like hitting the jackpot.
Yeah.
I'd get my 20 cents, go buy that pastry, sit on the curb,
Where?
and if it had a raisin in it, oh man, I was the happiest kid on the planet. Pure joy. Okay, fast forward to being an adult. I've been at fancy restaurants, ordered a, say, $100 steak. And maybe it comes out medium well instead of medium rare. And I've literally felt my whole evening was ruined, completely unhappy over this expensive steak.
Right. The contrast is stark.
It's stark. The point isn't the pastry or the steak. It's that you either learn to cultivate that capacity for happiness where you are with what's present or chasing external things. You just won't deliver it.
Yeah.
It has to come from within.
That's such a great illustration. And building on that inner landscape, Frankl identifies something else as truly ultimate. He says love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which a man can aspire.
Mm-hmm. And again, this wasn't just a nice idea. It came from his direct experience. He talks about marching one freezing morning, being yelled at, stumbling on icy ground, feeling completely degraded. And in that moment, his mind went to his wife. He didn't even know she was still alive. But he had this intense inner conversation with her, visualized her smile, her encouragement. And he wrote, "Nothing could touch the strength of my love, my thoughts, and the image of my beloved." He realized right then that even if she were dead, his connection to her, that inner communion, was just as real and powerful. Love could transcend physical presence, suffering, even death.
Wow, that's incredibly profound. And this deep understanding of meaning, love, attitude, it all led him to develop his own school of psychotherapy, right? Logotherapy.
That's right. Logotherapy literally means meaning therapy. It's focused specifically on helping people find meaning in their lives, looking towards their future possibilities.
And how does logotherapy suggest we find that meaning? What are the pathways?
Frankl outlined 3 main ways. First is by creating something, a work, a deed, actively doing something constructive. Second is by experiencing something, goodness, truth, beauty, nature, or by encountering someone, specifically through loving another person, that connection. And the third way, which we've touched on quite a bit, is through the attitude we choose to take toward unavoidable suffering. When we can't change our fate, we can still find meaning in how we face it. Those are the core pathways.
What a journey through these ideas. We've really tried to distill the essence of Frankl's wisdom from Man's Search for Meaning today. It's a book that doesn't shy away from suffering. It accepts it as part of life. But crucially, it shows us we have the power to choose how we cope, find meaning within it, and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, something Frankl believed quite deeply. He said that ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. In other words, life itself poses the question of meaning to us. And we answer not with words, but with our actions by taking responsibility for our lives. So the question becomes, what is life asking of you right now?
That is a powerful question to reflect on. We really hope this deep dive has sparked something for you. We absolutely encourage you to pick up Man's Search for Meaning yourself and explore these ideas further. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.